Huh?
Welcome to Fort Ticonderoga. I invite you, come on right on up over here. The cannon's way down there. You're welcome to sit over there, of course, but the best show is going to be right down here. I'm asking you if you use your imagination, put a line running from the back corner of that mortar there, right to the edge of that platform there. Come right on up to that line. Just don't come past it so we have a safety marker. Come on up. You got it, sir. You're right on. Come right on. Now we are portraying the gun crew here at Fort Carillon in 1758. Now these crews were filled out with men from the Canonnier Bombardier, the colony of Canada's own company of regular artillerymen. In addition to these men, there were soldiers drawn from the French infantry, myself in white coats, there to act as labor to help man the guns. Now the guns of Fort Carillon, even though this fort was built by the labor of French army soldiers, the fort itself was the property of the Ministère de la Marine, or the French Naval Ministry. And the guns themselves were provided by the French Navy. Now, there were 31 French iron naval cannons provided to this fort by the spring of 1757. But, in no small part due to the success of the French artillery at the siege of Fort William Henry. As part of the spoils of that victory, an additional 14 British bronze and iron guns brought back here, making it, by the end of 1757, going into 1758, 45 cannons arming Fort Carillon behind you. Now, these French naval guns, unlike the French army, which had bronze, which is lighter and stronger, ideal for dragging over rough roads across Europe. The French Navy, which had to supply cannons not only on all of their ships across the high seas, but into fortifications all around the Atlantic world, they opted for iron, which is a cheaper metal. It is more brittle, but cast thick enough, it is plenty strong to provide years of service. You might say, le canon, that is the iron tube that shoots our shot out. Inside of it, the hole that runs from the front, or the muzzle, all the way to the back, that's known as la bouche, or the bore. At the very back, the thickest part, is known as the breech, or la culotte. Now to actually fire off the piece, well, there's a hole that runs all the way from the outside of the cannon all the way down into la bouche. It's known as la lumière. Allows us to actually fire it off. At the very back of the gun, there is la bouton, or cascabel, a knob which gives us a convenient point to raise or lower the gun, whether we're aiming or just trying to shift it from one carriage to another. Set just ahead of the cannon center of gravity to either side, there are two truyons, or trunnions. These provide a pivot point upon which the cannon can be aimed up or down. They also bear the weight of the gun onto its carriage. Now, carriages, as the French would say, à feu, came in two different species. In the French iron naval guns here, they were provided with à feu de marine, akin to the carriages you see over here with 4 small wheels, ideal either, as the name would suggest, for the deck of a ship, or not only the mitraille, the jagged chunks of iron, but also our powder, la poudre, loaded at the back. Now, in order to fire off the piece, there's a series of positions. Each one of these positions has a different tool associated with it. The man who is properly thought of as the canonnier, the gunner of the piece, he is going to go ahead and use several tools, one of which is going to be the lanterne. This, a copper ladle, going to use that to go all the way back to the petit magasin, measure out his powder, and then advance it forward to the gun. As copper scoops, much less likely to spark. Opposite that, he has the tirabeur, or the wad hook. This iron corkscrew allows him to remove anything that might still be in the bore, which might inadvertently ignite another shot added to it. Now when he goes to prime this weapon, he's got la corne d'amorce. This bull's horn, brass spout at the end, allows him to pour priming powder right down the lumiere so it can be fired. Slung with that on the same strap, there are two tools. One is known as the iron dégorgeoir, or the ring, which allows him to clean out that cut of vent from time to time. Right next to it, he's got the épinglette, a brass priming wire that we use to make sure that the piece is ready to prime. Now, the first servant to the left of the piece, he's got two tools as well. At one end, he has le couvillon, the swab. This is a oak cylinder covered in sheep's leather with the fleece left on, which when wet allows us to clean out the bore, cool it, and at the same time extinguish anything that might be burning inside. Opposite that, he has le refouloir. This rammer head allows him to seat everything, shot, wad, and powder firmly against the breech. Now to actually fire off the piece, the second servant on the left, he's going to have to take up the bout de feu. This, the linstock, holds in its jaws a piece of slow match, hemp cord that's been soaked in black powder, saltpeter, and wine spirit, so it burns to a nice hot ember, easily able to set off our priming charge of powder. Now, posted all around the cannon platform, we have a series of leviers. These oak levers allow us to move the cannon in and out of position, and at the same time help adjust it for elevation and the angle we want it to shoot at. Now, when we go to actually aim it, we will take up what's known as the sight. You'd think with the ground so wet it would stay. Nope. This, the sight, laid on the back of the cuirass, allows us to line up that as we point in, or aim the gun. Now to use all of these tools and ammunition to operate a piece like this would be the order to, which just means come to attention. From here, we would get the order to, or take up your levers and go to your posts. Each man steps up into their carefully laid out spot on the platform, grabs their levers, wait for the command to, or embed them in different spots on the cannon carriage. Now upon the command to, we'll take the gun out of battery, rolling it backwards, those men on the wheels pulling with leverage, us on the back shifting it backwards, leveraging against the cannon platform. Once it is out of battery, we'll get the order to,
Remettez le levier en votre poste.
we put the levers back in their place. And get the order to, that man to the left front of the cannon gets the order to,
A couvillon.
he will take up the swab. At the same time, that man to the right rear of the gun gets the order to,
Boucher de lumière.
or cover over the vent. Now at the same time, that gunner would get the order to,
À la poudre.
or go back and draw out the powder. While he's doing that, that man to the left front of the piece gets the order to,
A couvillonné.
or swab out the piece. He will push this wet swab all the way down the barrel while the vent is covered, therefore the gun is sealed. He'll turn it 2 or 3 times and then draw it out upon the command
Retirez le couvillon en son plat.
and return it to its place. As soon as this is done, we're then ready to,
Mettez les poudres dans le canon.
or put the powder into the can. Instead of setting the levers down, we will instead go
En bouton, on flash.
or to the cascabel and to the chiefs. These men to the rear, we step on in here, and upon the command to,
Pointez.
or aim, that the aiming sight is going to be put up on the cuirass, and with his voice, he'll give the order,
Up.
up, up,
Up.
raise the gun, or ba, to lower the gun. At the same time, using hand gestures, so there's no confusion, us men on the back will shift it. As soon as he's satisfied with the lay of the gun, he'll give the order to prime, or one more thing. We set the levers down, and us, who are no longer needed on the cannon platform, we step back out of the way. Now, as soon as the gun is primed, using that powder horn to pour a priming charge all the way down through the Lumiere, the gunner, is going to go ahead and take up a position where he can see the lay of the shot. Once he is in that position, he can then go ahead and order that man with the bout de feu, or the linstock, to
On peut faire.
or take up the linstock. We'll step forward right here, and upon the command to we'll raise it up with our arms, and then we will or fire. The gun goes off. Now immediately, in order to reload, we will take up our levers and go to our post.
Et pareil.
And bang them once more. Now, this exercise takes a while. In fact, it's quite deliberate.